Good to be back. The break was very useful. It was very helpful, and it helped me remember that there's a lot of other things going on in my life. And today was a very long day of work, as was yesterday, but I am so ready to play Survivor some more. So, let's dive right in with how I'm seeing the state of the game and where I'm at. If last week I was at a low, I think I'm now currently at a high point, and it's never too good to feel too comfortable, but I'm feeling pretty comfortable. Here's why. I believe there's always multiple narratives, of course, and some that I'm not aware of, but I believe there are two prevailing narratives currently in the game as far as where the next vote's going, and I believe that I have my hand on the wheel, and I can decide where they go. In other words, I think, for right now, for this vote, I believe I'm a swing, which is great. I never thought I would be in that position because I have been somewhat of an alpha presence, and alphas don't generally find their way to being the swing. So let's explain how we're here, and I will talk this out and see if it sounds ridiculous as I'm talking it out, because if it is, I want to know now, as opposed to later. Where the vote seems to be going. Oh, and I guess first, a lot has happened. Okay, so there was this idea that Taste and I were going to pretend to do some distance and all that. Fuck it, that's not happening. So that's done. Where the overwhelming majority of the game thinks the vote is going next is in my line of sight is Haschel. There are two people who are outside of the idea of Haschel going next, and those two people are Haschel and Jose. And the reason for that is Jose is close with Haschel and does not want to see Haschel go. So, I believe if tribal happened right now, one very likely outcome, assuming no idle play and assuming that Haschel does not win immunity, would be 7 votes go Haschel's way, and 2 votes probably go by way of Blaze, or maybe Chaos, maybe Drake. That's one school of thought. There's another. We have an option of working instead of against Jose's interest, of maintaining Jose's interest, and potentially going for Blaze, or one of the other LP folks. Currently, there are only 2 people who truly believe that, and that again is Jose and Haschel. But here's the thing. Taste and I, if we want to, could very easily jump over to Jose's ship because we are inside of it. And we could then very easily convince one of Chaos or Drake, potentially both, to go after Blaze. And what that means is we would have about maybe a 5-4, maybe a 6-3 split where Blaze goes home and Haschel picks up the errant votes. It seems like the vote is going to go on either one of them, provided, of course, that neither win immunity. If one of them does, that obviously changes things. I think suddenly Drake or Chaos becomes vulnerable. Spokes could also be vulnerable, but I don't quite see it. If Haschel wins immunity, that's the biggest disrupting factor. So, in true Survivor fashion, Haschel will probably win tonight. Why the fuck not, right? It'll make it more fun. If Haschel wins immunity, we will have to do some puzzling, and I'm not entirely sure where things end up. Here's the deal. I still don't really want Haschel to go. I still do think it's in my interest at some point to make a move that is very clearly outside of Taste's control. That feels important to me for a couple reasons, and one is that it does seem like if we make it to the end, and I am sitting at Final Tribal with Taste, I want to say that I had agency outside of our dynamic and I made something happen. What this reminds me of and what I hope it looks like, and I'll quote the real show. No, this is plenty real, but I'm going to quote the show. If you saw Winners at War last season, this feels like the move where Tony blindsided Sarah and sent Sarah's number 1 home. And that was Sophie. So what he did was he essentially said, I'm cutting out this person who you are close to, so now you have to be close to me. And by the way, this person that you're close to is a big threat. I think Spokes is a huge sleeper of a threat. I think Spokes has been very safe this whole time, has been happy to bounce around, has never really seriously been considered. The Chaos initiative against Spokes was just very ill-conceived and it was never going to happen. I think Spokes could very well coast to Final Tribal and could have a really good case for winning the game. So to me, any chance that I get to take Spokes out, or maybe take Drake out, because those are the two people that Taste has promised a Final Four to Spokes and a Final Three to Drake. Any chance I get to cut one of them outside of his awareness is really huge. And I'll have to ask for forgiveness, and I will make it very clear that it was in my interest to cut this person, and we don't need to work together on everything. I am worried about Taste taking offense to that and taking exception to it. I am worried that Taste is hoping that we work together for the whole duration of the game. I want to be Taste's partner. I want to sit at the end with Taste, but I also want to do things somewhat solo when the opportunities present themselves for a couple reasons. And one is I think it serves my interest better to win, but also it's more fun. It's just more fun to do other things outside of this one dynamic, and I want to be able to put my name on something individually that I did in the game. So we'll see where that ends up landing, but I'm really excited about what happens after tonight's tribal because, again, I feel safe. I'd like to win immunity just because I want to win, but I don't think I need it. Not for this vote. I will say, too, as far as what I've been doing to sort of rebuild and reassess, I have a whole new perspective on Chaos that I really appreciate. And I told Chaos as much. I didn't believe Chaos for a second when he approached me with, the push against Spokes. It felt like a snow job, and that's pretty much what everyone thought. Taste thought it, Merc and Jose. We all thought, like, okay, well, Chaos has gone rogue and is doing whatever he wants. Nope. What Chaos was doing was being really genuine, and he really thought he had the votes, and it showed up at Tribal when there was, what was it, a 9-2? Like, it showed up. He really meant it. Or not a 9-2, I guess it's an 8-2. We were at 10, right? Now we're at 9. So yeah. And I told Chaos, I was totally upfront. I approached him late at night that night, which was, I guess, the last thing I did before break. And I basically said, look, I'll tell you, do you want to know why I went outside of what you believe the marching orders were? And he said, yeah. And I said, I just didn't believe you. It seemed like this vote chain, which I think consisted of Bunny, Spokes, Taste, Merc, Haschel, these people who had never had any connection, I didn't believe that it was real. And it felt like because this was a lie that I potentially was being threatened, so I had to find somewhere else to put my votes. And he got it. Either he really did get it and he really is cool with it, or he's doing a great job of pretending he's cool with it. And either way, that's good gameplay. So I've come back around on Chaos. I wouldn't mind Chaos winning the season. There's still a few players left that I really wouldn't like to win the season, just because I don't have a whole lot of. I wouldn't be proud of the game that they're playing if I were playing it. But at this point, I'm recognizing that Chaos is trying, and so I wouldn't mind. I could see myself voting for Chaos at the end if he makes a good case at Final Tribal if I'm on the jury. So a lot of things to consider, and where Chaos ends up in all of this is interesting, and I'm not entirely sure where I want him to end up, and if I want to end up with his numbers. I mean, the big question seems to be now, do I want to put my faith and my game in the hands of the Mafia 4, which I'm leaning towards, or this weird ragtag collective that is semi-made up of these Let's Play people, and basically ride out to the end with Chaos, Drake, Blaze, and Taste. Taste comes with me either way. And here's the deal. I think that there's a lot more potential for volatility for the Mafia people to cut me. Not this vote, probably, but maybe the next or the one after that. I could see them going for it. It would make sense for them to try. But I don't think I care. I think I'll be able to figure it out if they do. And I think I'm enjoying it enough playing with them in the way that we're playing that the idea, the potential of a Final Four that consists of me, Merc, Jose, and Taste is really appealing to me. Taste is not interested in that. And again, this is where our interests kind of split. So, a lot of things to think about, but again, super excited to be back into it. And I'm really excited for the challenge tonight. So, I'm going to hop on board the stream train. And I'm going to be playing some weird ass shit before Tribal. So, not Tribal, before the challenge. So, hope to see you all there. Until then, take it easy, y'all.